If you are 55 or older and you are worried the VA is going to reduce your rating, you are not alone. But you shouldn't panic because there are ways to protect your benefits and avoid the most common mistakes that trigger reductions. By the way, I'm Jacob and I'm an Army vet. I'm on the C&P prep team here at vetclaims.ai, where I've helped hundreds of veterans aged 55 and up protect their ratings. So today I'm going to walk you through the 55 rule, what it actually does, and the exact moves you can make to keep your rating safe. Here's the plan. First, I will explain the 55 rule in plain English. Then I will break down compensation versus pension so you know which rules apply to you. Then we will cover the overpayment traps that create the big payback letters. Then I will show you the benefit add-ons like aid and attendance that most people miss. And finally, I will give you a simple action checklist you can use today. And by the end, you'll know exactly what to do next without any hype and without any false promises. Just straight talk from someone who's been in the trenches with thousands of veterans just like you. The 55 and up rule. Let's start with one rule that could change everything for you right now. It means that once you hit that age, your rating is far less likely to be reduced during a routine review, as long as your condition hasn't dramatically improved. But here's what it does not mean. It does not automatically make you permanent in total. It does not automatically increase your rating, and it does not lock in your benefits forever without any action on your part. So here's a real example. Imagine a veteran rated at 10% for a knee injury back in 1995. For 30 years, he's been getting by. No one ever told him the damage had worsened, arthritis had set in, and he needed a cane, then a walker. He never filed for an increase. At 68, he finally learns about the 55 rule and realizes he could have been at 30% or higher for decades. The window, if you're 55 and up, this is your moment. The VA is far less likely to second guess a well-documented increase, but you still have to document it properly. This is where a lot of veterans get tripped up and it can cost you everything. This is section 2, compensation versus pension. Compensation is for service-connected injuries or illnesses. It's based on the severity of your condition and is not affected by your income. Pension, also called veterans pension or non-service connected pension, is income-based. It's designed to help veterans with limited resources who served during wartime. But here's the catch, you must report income changes. Here's a real story. A veteran injured in a farm accident years after service gets placed into the pension system. His rating is low, but the pension helps with his living expenses. Then, years later, he starts receiving a small inheritance and Social Security. He doesn't report it because no one explained the rules. Suddenly, at age 82, the VA audits him and demands repayment. Key difference to remember, compensation equals service-connected, no income test. Pension equals income tested, annual reporting required. If you're on pension and your income goes up, tell the VA. Don't wait for them to find out. But this next one is the nightmare scenario no one talks about until it lands in your mailbox. This is the $85,000 nightmare. If your income exceeds the limits for pension and you don't report the change, the VA can and will demand repayment, even years later. Here's a quick story about a veteran I worked with here in rural Texas. He was an 85-year-old veteran and he opened a letter one morning and saw $85,000 owed. His wife had passed, he'd received survivor benefits, and he didn't report them. The VA had been overpaying him for years. He had to sell his truck and dip into his savings just to avoid losing his home. Why this happens at 55 and up? Many veterans move from compensation to pension as they age. Life changes, inheritances, part-time work, spousal benefits aren't reported. The VA systems are slow. Audits often happen decades later. The fix? Document everything. Report changes immediately. And if you're already in this situation, there are appeal paths, but you need to act fast. All right, so here's the thing. This is one of the most underrated benefits for veterans aged 55 and up. Aid and attendance and housebound. Aid and attendance applies when a veteran needs help with everyday activities, bathing, dressing, eating, going to the bathroom, or needs supervision due to cognitive issues or safety concern. Household is for veterans who are substantially confined to their home or immediate premises. But here's why it matters. Nursing home care can cost $4,000 to $8,000 per month. Aid in attendance can help cover in-home care, assisted living, or even family caregivers. True story, a daughter in Ohio quit her full-time job to care for her 79-year-old father. She was burning through savings, then a friend mentioned aid in attendance. They filed, got approved, and she was able to get paid for the care she was already providing legally and ethically. Here's an important note. This benefit is separate from your compensation rating in many cases and can stack with other support. Here's something you should be aware of. This can be very hard to get approved, especially when using a spouse or a family member as your caregiver. But what is important is you make sure you don't just quit and give up, and you document everything to make sure you have the most strength with your claim when you submit it to the VA. For example, I worked with a veteran who had been denied 3 to 4 times for trying to get his wife, his spouse, officially his caregiver under the VA. But make sure you don't give up, you document everything, and you continue to try until you get what you deserve. This next one, we see over 90% of veterans mess this up. If you are 55 and older, this section is critical for you and your family. This is filing before death. Any claim filed while you are still alive can continue after your death and directly affect survivor benefits. Your spouse may qualify for DIC, which is Dependency and Indemnity Compensation. These are unpaid benefits that can be paid to your estate. Surviving dependents can sometimes pick up the claim where you left off. The bottom line is, do not wait. If you know something is wrong with your rating, file now. These next 5 things that I'm about to tell you are going to make or break your claim. I'm going to show you how to put together your ethical action plan. This is not about gaming the system. This is about getting what you've already earned the right way. Step 1, gather every medical record, every lay statement from family, and every doctor's note. Step 2, understand which program you're actually in, compensation or pension. Step 3, if you need help with daily activities, document it now for aid in attendance. Then we move on to step 4, report income changes immediately if you're on pension. And lastly, step 5, consider a fully developed claim with strong evidence. Don't just throw paperwork at the VA. It is very important because many older vets face a knowledge gap, not fraud. You served when your country needed you. Now let's make sure the VA serves you in a way you actually deserve. But if you need help and don't know where to start, click the link in our video description for vetclaims.ai and we can help you get the rating you deserve and the preparation and help that you need.